It's time to get your news on. We are VK1WIA.
Yes, it is the national news, the WIA national news, and a double edition this week. Yes, it's the Mother's Day edition, and it's also the AGM edition. So, in the news this week, we visit the WIA AGM in Canberra. Plus, much more in this edition of news from the Wireless Institute. I'm Editor Graham, VK4BB.
This news originates from the Wireless Institute of Australia. Born to lead since 1910.
Often during worldwide special interest group news, we run items under the banner of Internet, the hams domain. Well, certainly here in Australia, domains are well and truly at the front of many hams' minds. Our own wiaq.com.au site, just less than 10 days after renewing for 2 years, faces the real possibility of losing that because of the .com. It may have to change to a .org or some other such thing. Tony VK7AX has drawn my attention to those with call signs in domains, well, a la .id.au. It would seem that the AUDA are unaware of what normally constitutes a nickname, and that amateur radio usage of call signs is highly consistent with both the Macquarie Dictionary definition of the word and its definition under Australian contract law. And let's face it, for amateurs, it's practically a surname. Now, is AUDA a government department? The not-for-profit AU Domain Administration, AUDA, oversees the operation and management framework of the .au domain of the Internet. AUDA is endorsed by the Australian Government as the appropriate entity to administer Australia's country code top-level domain. Now, late word in comes from Ben, VK7BEN, who has written, I've just received word that the AUDA have dropped their complaint and the domain vk7ben.id.au will remain in my control, at least until the next time they go on a crusade. So, watch this space. Another one to watch is the ACMA. There has been a correction to the consultation. ACMA, in an email we all should have had, says, on the 9th of May, we made minor corrections to the amendment instrument. So, go and reread that. And you can view the updated draft instrument and details of the consultation on the ACMA website.
This is WA President Scott Williams, VK3KJ, and welcome to all listeners, wherever you might be, to the national news broadcast this week. Well, it's been a busy few weeks at the WIA, leading up to this year's AGM, which was held on Saturday, the 13th of May in Canberra, in the ACT. Thank you to all of those members that attended in person, and also to those that attended via the live stream. Also, we streamed the event via YouTube, so I hope we had many other listeners that got a little insight into the operations of the WIA and, of course, witnessed many of the very worthy award recipients. Just a couple of key items to note from the AGM was as follows. 1, a huge congratulations to Peter Young, VK3MB, who was awarded Honorary Life Membership of the WIA. The members passed this resolution recognising Peter's exceptional and tireless commitment to the Wireless Institute of Australia and the amateur radio community. Our congratulations again to Peter Young, VK3MB, now etched forever in the WIA as an Honorary Life member. 2, our congratulations to Giles Kirby, VK5GK, who was appointed to the board as a newly appointed director. And also confirmed as re-elected directors were Peter Clee, VK8ZZ, Peter Schrader, VK4EA, and myself, Scott Williams, VK3KJ. Continuing directors were Chris Dimitrovic, VK3FY, Stephen Green, VK2TSG, and Lee Moll, VK3GK. The board also noted the tremendous contribution of retiring director Greg Kelly, VK2GPK. Greg did not re-nominate after serving on the board for over 6 years and holding the role of president in the past. Greg joined the WIA at a time of considerable unrest in the amateur radio community, and we thank Greg for his many years of service and wish him well in the future. 3, a resolution was passed to amend a small typographical error in the Constitution. This was picked up by a member in the 2022 AGM. 4, the WIA reported a small surplus of $11,442 for the year ending 31st of December 2022. This included a provision of $20,000 for IT investment in 2023 and a significant provision of $52,200 for international representation. The net asset position of the WIA reported at the 31st of December 2022 was $464,694. As with every year, there are a range of WIA awards announced and presented at the AGM. These awards recognised individuals who had made an active, valued and outstanding contribution to the WIA and the amateur radio community through a range of activities. Award winners announced were Honorary Life Membership, Peter Young, VK3MV. President's Commendation, Brian Bates, VK8BL. President's Commendation, the WIA Awards team made up of Graham Alston, VK3GA Awards Manager, Alex Petricock, VK6APK, David McCauley, VK3W, Mark Hillman, VK3OHM, Brian Cleland, VK5BC, Grant Willis, VK5GR, and Graham Dowse, VK4CAG. The Brenda Edmonds Award went to Uno Benschop, VK6EEN, also VK6FLAB. The Foundation Licence Award went to Alex Cherry, VK2APDC. The Chris Jones Award, Drew Diamond, VK3XU. The Chris Jones Award was also awarded to Ian Morris, VK3IFM. And the Michael Owen Award was awarded to Noel Higgins, VK3NH. Publication Awards, Encouragement Award, Peter Sumner, VK5PJ. Higginbotham Award, Peter Wolfington, VK3RV. The Higginbotham Award also went to Andy Kerr, VK2AAK. The Higginbotham Award also went to Lou DiStefano, VK3AQZ. The Shaw Smith Award, Fred Swainston, VK3DAC, also VK4FE. The Shaw Smith Award also went to Carmel Morris, VK2CAR. Technical Award, Michael Barbera and Greg Mew, VK4GRM. And finally, another technical award went to John Forrest, VK3JNF. For information on each award category and the contribution of each award recipient, further information can be found on the WIA website with other documents from the AGM. On a final note, the WIA board will meet shortly to confirm board executive appointments for the year ahead. This includes the role of the President, Vice President and Company Secretary. Announcements will be made via Memnet, the WIA website and social media channels once this occurs. In closing, thank you to all that made 2022 a great success for the WIA. I would personally like to thank all of our members and volunteers that make the WIA such a great place. I also want to acknowledge the contribution of the WIA board and in particular Company Secretary Peter Klee, VK8ZZ, who did a significant amount of the heavy lifting leading into the AGM this year. That's it for me this week, and again, my congratulations to all those very worthy award recipients this year. Best wishes, Scott Williams, WIA President, VK3KJ.
Hello everyone. I hope this broadcast finds you well. I'm Giles, VK5 Golf Kilo, and I'll be joining the WIA Board of Directors. I'll begin by saying, please do reach out to me with any comments and feedback, and I'll make sure those opinions are considered and reflected. I'm particularly keen to support my local amateurs in the VK5 region as well. I'm sure you can tell by the accent that I'm from the UK. I moved to VK5 in 2014 pursuing work. I've worked all my life in the sciences, and I spent nearly a decade at the University of South Australia working in the medical field. I now do a mixture of things, some space medicine, some science advisory roles. A real mix, to be honest. I've spent a bit of time recently working on radar signal processing, but I'm interested in all fields of science. The sun holds a particular interest, and we should all be watching it with great interest over the coming years. I have pretty varied interests, but they all have a similar theme. I love simplicity and things that just work. I love repairing things, and repairing and maintaining those things to a high standard. Both my cars are over 30 years old and mechanically sound. I have a Yaesu FT101E that I keep in excellent condition. I just repaired my oscilloscope, a Tektronix 2445A from the 80s. There's a beautiful philosophy in Japan called kintsugi. It's essentially the repair of pottery, but highlighting the repaired cracks with gold. This is a philosophy of repair, paying homage to the object that has served well, and not hiding its age. Old objects are treasures because they link to the past. If you ever visit Japan, you'll see this appreciation of old objects that are kept in excellent condition. The buses and subway trams are obvious examples. They look like they were commissioned in the 80s, but they're kept in beautiful and clean condition. I think people might be a bit happier if we all slow down and embrace a bit of simplicity in our lives. We don't necessarily need the newest car or phone or radio. We might actually experience more joy from older objects. Something to think about anyway. My HF operations have felt pretty light of late. Right now, work and a newborn baby seem to have dominated my time, but I do enjoy battling with the wind, with wire HF antennas, and I'm thinking of playing with the 10 meter band a bit. My day-to-day transceiver is a Yaesu FT950. It's a bit of an older rig, again, but excellent stability and features with a beautiful display. I played a bit with digital modes in the past, but honestly get more joy from SSB. I hope you all have an excellent rest of the day. This is VK5 Golf Kilo 73s.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's national news service. We are VK1WIA. Now, international news with VK2LAW Jason.
Hello. The Internet Archive, archive.org, was founded to build an internet library with the purpose of offering permanent access for researchers, historians and scholars to historical collections that exist in digital format. Founded in 1996, the Internet Archive has an historical web collection, the Wayback Machine, of over 150 billion web pages, about 240,000 movies, and over 500,000 audio items, including over 70,000 live concerts, over 1.8 million texts, 1,600 education items, and over 30,000 software items, and they grow bigger every day. DLARC is adding newsletters from amateur radio groups around the world. The latest editions include 1,400 news bulletins from Irish Radio Transmitter Society going back to 1998, and more than 600 newsletters from the Worldwide TV-FMDX Association, a hobby club devoted to long-distance television and FM communications. Many of these newsletters have never been posted to the internet before. All are full-text searchable and can be read online or downloaded. The Digital Library of Amateur Radio and Communications is funded by a grant from Amateur Radio Digital Communications, ARDC, to create a free digital library for the radio community, researchers, educators and students. DLARC invites radio clubs and individuals to submit material in any format. To contribute or ask questions about the project, contact Kay Savitz, Kilo 6 Kilo Juliet November, by email at k@archive.org. Now specifically to IARU Region 1. Portugal to Venus phone home. Venus on 47 GHz. A translation from an article on the webpage of the Portuguese Amateur Radio Society reads, and this from the IRTS news service, on the 7th of April, Iban Echo Bravo 3 Foxtrot Romeo November and Jose Echo Alpha 3 Hotel Mike Juliet performed the first detection of the thermal noise emitted by the planet Venus at 47 GHz. On the 8th of April, Miguel, Charlie Tango 1 Bravo Yankee Mike, confirmed the observation with similar results. Both stations obtained Venus measurements of more than 0.002 dB of signal-to-noise ratio at a bandwidth of 10 MHz and a time interval of 10 seconds, but visible to a 2-second interval without problem. With this dish system and LNA with 1.7 dB noise figure, they were able to consistently obtain sun and cold sky measurements of over 11 dB and moon and cold sky of 1.6 dB. More details about the observations by stellar microwave SWLs are promised on rep.pt. RSGB Coronation Morse. A Morse slip tape perforator and Wheatstone Morse transmitter were put into action at the RSGB's National Radio Centre at Bletchley Park to prepare a special message to celebrate the coronation of King Charles III. A link to YouTube is in the text edition of the news, so you can not only hear it, but see it in action. In news from Region 2, Dayton Hamvention 2023, Ham Radio's largest annual gathering, is just a week away. Gates open for the 3-day event on Friday, May 19 at Greene County Fair and Expo Centre in Xenia, Ohio. 700 volunteers are working to get the event ready. This is said to be Ham Radio's people event, and they've a lot to offer. This year's Hamvention theme is innovation and will be reflected in the variety of exhibits, activities and forums that have been organised for 2023. On May 3, 2021, new FCC rules governing RF exposure evaluations went into effect. While the exposure limits were not changed, the requirement to conduct an evaluation was made more broadly applicable to amateur licensees. A 2-year transition period was implemented to allow existing amateur licensees to conduct evaluations and make any changes necessary to ensure that their station complies with the exposure rules. On May 3 this year, the transition period ended. All US licensees must now conduct evaluations of their current station and reassess compliance when making changes to their stations that would affect exposure going forward. To news from Region 3, government push for FM in India. Paul McLean, writing in RadioWorld.com, says Geo Broadcast Solutions is citing a development in India as evidence of the usefulness of its FM geo-targeting technology. This new technology will enhance the broadcast signals and widen the reach of the largest radio network in the world, All India Radio. And with the inclusion of zone casting, the station signal can be subdivided or zoned with specific neighbourhood content vital for listeners using their mobile phones anywhere they may be. For VK1WIA National News, in Sydney, I'm Jason, VK2LAW.
We are VK1WIA. Now, operational news with VK4FUQ. Felix.
Hello there. Now, context-wise, May 2021. Don Edwards Memorial Slow Morse Contest begins next weekend after Mother's Day, which is today. But Cole will have more on this test in Special Interest Group News today. Same date, May 2021, but in New Zealand is the 80-metre Sangster Shield, presented to the amateurs of New Zealand by Mr. Ralph Sangster in 1927. It's NZART's longest-standing amateur contest. Ralph intended that the shield be awarded annually to the CW station obtaining the highest score in a low-power contest. The output of the transmitter must not exceed 5 watts PP. Overseas contestants, that is, we're here in VK, may use any power up to the maximum permitted by their licence. June 24-25, Winter VHF-UHF Field Day. June weekend prior to the second Monday of June, VK Shires. WIA UHF World Championship Contest takes place the second full weekend of July. July 15, Trans-Tasman Low Band Contest. August 12 and 13, Remembrance Day Contest. August 26-27, Alara Contest. DX Window. VI 2023 HRH 1st to 31st of May celebrates the coronation of King Charles III. VI 10 VKFF celebrates the 10-year anniversary of the VKFF group. VI 100 MB celebrates the centenary of the Manly Warringah Radio Society. VK1WIA for the 90 years of the WIA's journal, Amateur Radio Magazine. VK100ZL celebrates the centenary of the first trans-Tasman radio contact between Australia and New Zealand. Overseas, special call sign GB4VLB will be active on the 20th and 21st of May only. This from the Volunteer Life Brigade Watch House in Tynemouth as part of SOS Radio Week. The station will be operating in support of the Volunteer Life Brigade, RNLI, and National Coast Watch Institution. GB23C call sign now until the 30th of June. Details can be found on the GB23C webpage. For further information on GB23C and all the other coronation activities being led by the RSGB, go to rsgb.org/coronation. Gibraltar. Special event station ZQ2HRH is QRV until May 31 to commemorate the coronation of King Charles III. QSL via operator's instructions. Netherlands. Special event call signs PA100K, PA100M and PA100PCG are QRV until June 30 to commemorate the 2-way telegraph service that started up from Radio Malabar to Radio Kuchwinch. Also commemorating this event, but from Indonesia, 8A100K until May 13 to commemorate the 100 years of long-range telegraph communications in the Netherlands. For VK1WIA National News, I'm Felix VK4FUQ Inningham.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service. We are VK1WIA. Now, Special Interest Group News with VK3GTV. Cole.
Hello, our first special interest group is CW. And for a number of weeks now, Felix, VK4FUQ, has been telling us of the St George Amateur Radio Society's Don Edwards Memorial Slow Morse Contest. On the weekend of the 20th and 21st, this contest commemorates Don, VK2NV, who became a silent key in early 2021. Don's operating was almost exclusively on CW, and he often encouraged club members to either learn Morse or increase their speed. No matter what speed, this contest is an opportunity to give Morse a go. Contest rules are that contacts should be no more than 10 words per minute. Many contacts in last year's contest were 5 words per minute or less. So if you learnt Morse code years ago to get your license and then hid your Morse key at the back of the cupboard, it's a good opportunity to dig it out again and have a go. The Don Edwards Memorial Slow Morse Contest will be held in 2 parts. Saturday the 20th of May from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on 80 metres, then on Sunday the 21st, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on 40 metres. Times are Eastern. Worldwide Special Interest Groups Defence. UK hams mark anniversary of Dam Busters raid. Hams in the UK are marking the 80th anniversary of the famous World War II Dam Busters raid. And Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, tells us what's involved.
The Royal Air Force sent a squadron of bombers into the night to complete a mission known as Operation Chastise, but better known as the Dam Busters Raid. Listen on the HF bands with a focus on 20 and 40 metres for operators using SSB, CW and RTTY. There will also be radio activity on VHF using FM, C4 FM and FT8 on 2 metres, and SSB and CW using the QO100 satellite. Please visit the QRZ.com page of GB0DBA for QSL details.
Thanks, Jeremy. On to Worldwide Special Interest Groups Digital. iHeartMedia plans to use artificial intelligence to the fullest. Chairman and CEO Bob Pittman says he thinks AI can fundamentally change the cost structure of the company. The company hasn't disclosed any plans to use the technology to create AI disc jockeys, but did previously announce it would use AI to translate some of its podcasts into foreign languages. And this week it announced in a press release it would add Daily Dad Jokes, an AI-generated stand-up comedy show from Classic Studios, to its iHeart podcast network. Worldwide Special Interest Group's Final Frontier. AO73 recently transmitted a fitter message from the Radio Society of Great Britain celebrating the coronation of His Majesty King Charles III and Her Majesty Queen Camilla on the 6th of May. The message read, "Have a wonderful day celebrating the coronation of His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen from RSGB via FunCube 1. A space-based cellular phone network that relies on satellites instead of towers may not be so far off as you think. Kent Peterson, KC0DGY, has that story.
Imagine being able to have a cell phone signal delivered directly to your mobile device from space instead of from a cell tower. 2 smartphone users reported recently they had just that experience. A call between a phone user in Texas and another in Japan was reportedly routed through a low Earth orbit satellite manufactured by AST Space Mobile. These were standard, unmodified smartphones, a Samsung Galaxy S22 in Texas, and an iPhone in Japan. Some smartphones are already capable of message-based satellite routing solutions in emergencies, but a full service call with voice connection like this is said to be breaking new ground.
Thanks, Kent. Next up, it's Worldwide Special Interest Groups, VHF and above. Richard, VK7ZBX in VK7WIA News. And don't forget the 18th of June, VK7 will be hosting This News as part of their centenary celebrations. Well, he's told of EME activity in VK7, Earth Moon Earth, on 10 GHz. After a long period, the moon beacon DL0SHF is back to full-time operations. It transmits on 10.368.024 MHz from Germany, running approximately 30 watts to a 7.2 metre diameter dish. This incredibly valuable resource is provided and maintained by Per, DK7LJ and the team. It transmits CW on the odd minute and Q65 submode E on the even minute. One contact was with the G4RFR, the club station of the Flight Refuelling Amateur Radio Society in Dorset in the UK. The club members there went to a huge amount of work to install a 1.8 metre dish and associated bits on the back of their existing 3.7 metre dish, allowing the ability to see over the top of the club rooms and see the moon at the same time as us here in VK7. On Sunday the 23rd of April at 0714 UTC, contact was made with VK7ZBX using Q6560D. A few minutes after that, they worked Rex VK7MO as well. They were quite strong and audible in the speaker, which is incredible when you think about it. Earlier in the month, the following stations were worked: Paulo CT2GUR, Joe DJ7FJ, Angelo I4TTZ, Michael SA6BUN, Dennis G0OLX, Sasho LZOC, Peter OZ1LPR and Rudy OE5VRL. For VK1WIA National News, I'm Cole, VK3GTV.
This is VK1WIA. All points of contacts from today's news stories are to be found in print when you read the web editions, www.wia.org.au.
Wrapping it up, it's the 2023 social scene. June, all of June, the celebration of the centenary of organised amateur radio in Tasmania. And there'll be a special WIA news service from VK7, and that'll happen June 18. June 10 and 11, in VK5, it's the SERG Convention and Fox Hunting Championships. And in VK2, it's the Oxley Region's 47th Annual Field Day at Wauchope. Now to the final. And Graham, VK3GRK, joins us.
And now to Mills on the Air and the special event call sign VI3 Mills. Bendigo Amateur Radio and Electronics Club is operating from Anderson's Mill, Smeaton, this weekend, Saturday, May 13th and Sunday, May 14th for Mills on the Air. This is not a contest, but rather an opportunity to promote amateur radio and at the same time promote the preservation of heritage. Stations that have worked the Barrack Special Event VI3 Mills call sign are eligible for an email QSL card. The VI3 Mills call sign will also be active until Monday, May 15th to provide further opportunity to work the special event call sign. QSL, frequency and no details can be found by going to the VI3 Mills page at qrz.com.
Thanks, Graham. And I'm also Graham VK4BB. We'll see you next week, right here on the WIA National News Service. And until then, walk softly.
From Australia, this has been the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
Courtesy of Bevan, VK5BD's ATV and YouTube channel, this has been WIA National News. We're back now, live and local, and your voice, your callbacks. And don't forget, tick like.